Hello and welcome to the Royals Review podcast. I'm your host, Dan Worth, joined by Jimmy solo today as Rami's off on adventures with other Reading podcasts, providing his insight. But we have Jimmy, so we'll be fine for today. Reading 1, Bolton 1 is what we're here to talk about. The Royals put in valiant effort, I thought, last night, but ultimately were pulled back very late on by Bolton. And Bolton leave the Select Car Leasing Stadium with a point. Jim, obviously you were there last night in the freezing cold. What did you make of it? Talk to me about how you feel.
Yeah, I thought we were not too bad in the first half. Bolton 1-on-1 in the first 45 seconds, which they didn't do anything with, luckily. And then after that, I thought we were pretty much, in the game as much as they were. Really nice. Couple of nice opportunities for Marriott, one of which he buried. So, yeah, going into half-time, 1-0 up. I think sort of after the 30th minute, we controlled the game quite nicely. Saw it out to half-time. Yeah, 1-0 up. Another great goal for Marriott. Don't know what it looked like on TV, but from the angle that I saw it from was very nice.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm obviously excited by it, but looking back at the replays, the keeper should have done way better. Straight down his throat, but hit so hard that couldn't get a hand to it. So I think it goes down as another great finish from Jack Marriott. To be honest, like kind of bored of talking about it really because he just scores every week and it's kind of repeat.
Exactly.
We'll come back to Jack Marriott later anyway because I'm sure there's injury concerns. But yeah, what about the second half? I'm assuming slightly different.
Second half, yeah, slightly different. Well, we just sat back, didn't we? We just sat back, invited all the pressure. I feel like we defended well. Ward was fantastic. Dorset was decent. Pordy was good. Nyambi, I actually thought was my sort of man of the match from a Reading perspective. Thought that was his best game. He was marking Sissoko for Bolton, who looked like their most dangerous player. And yeah, he just didn't really seem too fazed by him whatsoever. Defended well, but besides the back four, I thought we were terrible. The Keane and Kelvin up top, when they came on, I thought were useless. Savage wasn't particularly good. Well, nothing like he was in the first half anyway. Yeah, it was just really hard to sort of get a grip on the game, unless it was us just keeping the ball away from the goal. There was barely any highlights or opportunities that we had in front of the Bolton goal. And then a massive sucker punch right at the end, conceding in the last minute and a half. 1-0, it's a good result really against Bolton, but it just felt like a loss, annoyingly, because it was so late on. But it is what it is. It's a point in the right direction, I guess. 3 points would have been lovely though. And I was a little bit disappointed when we left. I just feel like if you're going to sit back and defend for 45 minutes, you see it through. You see it through. And I don't think the subs that Richardson made in the second half were particularly inspiring or did much, to be honest. If anything, well, it looked like from the replay, Kelvin actually knocked the ball out of Pereira's hands, which then led to the equaliser. So, tactically, unsure. I'm still not convinced. I know we've been discussing sort of if we were actually convinced, even though we'd won the last two games, were we convinced by the performances? And I still am not particularly convinced. I guess the only real positive is it sounds like Marriott is okay and he's not injured. So hopefully he'll be available on Saturday.
Yeah, fingers crossed. I think he said in post-match that he was having back spasms and that he'll just take all the drugs required to make himself fit for Saturday. So, yeah, that is music to all Reading fans' ears. But yeah, I mean, I largely agree with you. I think like just looking at the momentum on who scored at the moment, it's really interesting. Like as soon as it was like all Reading, which I mean, I don't even necessarily agree with, but a lot of Reading in the first half an hour and then all Bolton from then on. So yeah, like it really was a backs against the wall job for Reading. And I just think, like, currently, historically, it's not something that we're great at. And I think we did really well, to be honest, to keep them at bay for as long as we did, because they had so many chances. They had so much talent in like going forward. Yeah, remarkable, really, to keep them at bay. But I just think, like you touched on it, then we have to be better when we're blocking shots, when we're tackling late on. We have to be better at keeping the ball. You can't just lump it straight back. No matter how good the defense is.
Exactly.
If you're conceding, like we conceded 16 chances, which is not a huge amount compared to some other games. But like, you can't just sit there and take on wave after wave after wave of attacks and then win a header or get the ball on the edge of the box and just lump it straight back to them. It's just stupid. And so
I fully agree. Like, it just seemed like the game plan in that second half was just defend, nothing else. Say we have the ball, then what we're going to do with it. It's just get the ball away from our goal, which was, I mean, it worked for the most part, but ultimately it didn't work. So I'm not sure if that was the correct thing. I really think it would have been nice to have seen like Young come on. I just don't. There were so many players that just didn't have an impact, and then so many players that did have an impact. It really was like a massive divide. But yeah, look, it's a point against Bolton. I said it was going to be 1-1, I think, on the last pod. So yeah, we can't be too disappointed. It's just one of those. It's just hard to take because it all happened so late. But look, we take it. We move on. If we pick up 3 points against Bradford, I think that result will probably be forgotten about.
Yeah, I agree. You did say 1-1, so fair play to you. But I also said that I'd be very happy with a draw. And I do think there are parts of this game where we have to be slightly happy and go, right, we've just played one of the best teams in the league and we've gone toe-to-toe. First half, I thought we looked as good as them, if not occasionally better. Second half, we didn't, but we managed to keep them out for 96 minutes or something like that. So there are positives to take, but I would have liked to have seen Caden Young as well, by the way. I think Liam Richardson probably just went for experience because of the magnitude of the game. But I think that's the wrong call when, again, we would have benefited so much from a player who could run at their back line or hold the ball for more than 2 seconds. But we didn't see that. Right, big talking points then. Obviously, we've covered it, that they scored their goal in the 96th minute. Why was there so much extra time, you ask? Well, it's because Paudie O'Connor was down on the floor when, I can't remember his first name, but Kenny basically just walloped him in the face. So I think most of the extra time was actually added because Pereira and co were trying to find Paudie's tooth from the floor. So I guess let's talk about that incident. I mean, he's kicked him in the face. It's a red card, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. And I've been going back and forth with Bolton fans all afternoon on X about it. But just looking at the replay, it's a red card. It's a red card. Yes, it probably is accidental, but that doesn't, it's still reckless. Paudie's running. Does he go down soft? Yeah, but you do that. That's playing tactically, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kenny's foot, his left foot is still planted, which means, all of his weight is on that side. He doesn't have to go slamming down with his right foot on Paudie's face. He could easily sort of bail out with it. The ball is basically under Paudie as well. Like, why are you... The chance of actually, like, getting the ball back is pretty much zero. Why are you even challenging to get the ball back? Either way, he does it. He challenges to get the ball back, stamps on Paudie's face. It's reckless, and for me, it's a red card. It's as simple as that. I obviously understand why Bolton fans disagree, but hopefully there are some non-biased fans out there that can see that too. I think you did a little bit of research into like what actually would warrant a red card in that case, and I don't know. Do you have anything to add to it?
Yeah, I think it's interesting to see some of the rationale that the Bolton fans have used. Firstly, well, he shouldn't have gone down so easily. Redundant. That has absolutely no like reasoning for this.
Exactly.
And
yeah,
they're saying like it's not a red because he didn't mean it. That's not how it works, unfortunately. And for example, like if that had been in the air, i.e., if Kenny's foot had gone up and kicked Pordy in the head, like not on the ground, no one would have thought twice about that being a red card. They just wouldn't. Yeah, the intention really doesn't matter. A player can be sent off for serious foul play, which is either a kick is high and dangerous. Okay, yeah, not high, but very dangerous. In fact, the example that they give on site is a boot to the head. There is excessive force. I think that's debatable whether it's excessive or not. But as you say, I think he could have avoided it. And then the final point is the opponent's safety is endangered. Now, I think it's pretty impossible, no matter what bias you have, to look at the replay of that and not suggest that Pordy O'Connor's safety wasn't in danger. So, yeah, I personally think it's a red card. I'm massively surprised to see that it wasn't anything, and just really frustrating that the time it took to attend to Pordy is essentially the time that they scored their goal in. So it's just a double whammy of frustration, really.
Yeah, really frustrating. I mean, I don't like complaining about the refs, but I don't think the ref that we had last night was particularly good. There were a lot of silly decisions, but yeah, that one with the challenge against Pordy to me is an absolute shocker. I've looked at the replay. I try to be fair as well. Like we had a discussion earlier about the yellow cards that Reading picked up. I think that they were pretty much all deserved. And I know that there's some people out there that probably wouldn't think that they were deserved. But it's a red card. It's reckless. It's totally avoidable. And I just can't see. I've not seen any argument to suggest that it was, a correct decision so far. I'm not taking the accidental argument. Most red card, I highly doubt most players deliberately want to pick up red cards. Most red cards given are for accidental challenges or, accidental mistakes. No one in the box deliberately handballs, across. It's an accident. So yeah, I'm not taking that as an argument, along with what you just mentioned. But yeah, it's it's past now. Paulie's got one tooth left by the sounds of it. But yeah, hopefully he's back and ready ASAP.
Yeah, I'm sure he won't be long out. He's a tough man, so I'm sure he'll be back. And yeah, he's probably not too worried about a tooth missing. But anyway, one thing I wanted to talk
about the gold tooth, or he can come back with a gold tooth or some grills or something. So
yeah, when we win the playoffs, he can use that money to buy himself a little gold tooth. One thing I wanted to pick up on is the last episode we spoke about whether you would go for Fraser or Savage, and then Liam Richardson went for both of them. What did you make of that?
Well, like I said, I don't think Savage had his best game by any means. In fact, I actually think in the second half he was probably one of the worst performers. But first half, he put a fantastic ball over the top for Jack Marriott. So yeah, I mean, it worked. I thought Fraser played quite well. I think we needed a bit of aggression in midfield, and he sort of provided that from the get-go. But yeah, I just think that it's kind of hard to sort of keep track on, like, because we're changing the way we're playing almost every half or like numerous times throughout the game. You could see a patch where Charlie or Fraser have, they're really good. And then 20 minutes later, it's the complete opposite. So, yeah, I think it worked somewhat in the middle, if that makes sense. I think they both had sort of purple patches throughout the match, rather than sort of consistent performances.
Yeah, I agree with that. I actually quite like the three of them starting together. But my comment on it is then I don't really think Doyle's a winger. So I think I would personally have dropped Doyle and gone for Savage in the 10.
That's the other thing that I was going to bring up, which we can move on to after this. I just think the wing play in general yesterday was just completely non-existent. There was absolutely nothing, like nothing whatsoever. Paddy Lane tried for sure, but there just wasn't. I don't know. Maybe it just wasn't set up for that sort of play. But yeah, they just had zero impact really.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I mean, it's an issue that we keep repeating, right? Is that Reading's wing play is just not good enough. We call for Caden Young to come in. He looked all right at the weekend, I thought. Doesn't feature. Obviously, Chihuahua's out, which is a shame because I thought he could have probably had a fair impact on this game. But we just need more from those wide, especially when you've got your backs against the wall. We've seen all season how inefficient Reading are at lumping it forward to forward players. And then it's just the option we had. So as I say, sorry, go back to my point. Pretty happy with the three of them midfielders, Charlie Savage in the 10, Wing and Fraser sitting a little bit deeper. But I don't think we should really be starting Savage and Doyle going forward together unless Savage drops deeper, obviously. But I wouldn't be keen on dropping Doyle out wide. I don't think it works. Interesting, I thought, from Liam Richardson to make changes so early. I think my take on it, and you tell me yours, is that it's just purely down to the intensity of the game, that players were just like busting a gut for 60 minutes. And I think it was even less than that. I think it was like 55. 59. So 60 minutes. Do you think it was tactical, or do you just think like Marriott obviously
so in terms of what Marriott and Doyle coming off
coming off
Kelvin and Keane. Like you said, Marriott had his back spasm, so that's warranted, of course. Want to keep him as fit as possible. And I just think Doyle was having a bad game. He was just not really in the game at all. I don't think the opposition were finding it particularly hard playing against him. There was one moment where they stuck it right through his legs and then he dragged them back, picked up a yellow card. It was just one of those games for Doyle, unfortunately. He just, bad day at the office. And I'm assuming that's the reason why he got hooked. But yeah, like we touched on earlier, I just don't think Kelvin or Keane really had much of an impact on the game whatsoever. It's crying out for a bit of pace and running at the back line of Bolton when we did have the ball and we did manage to get the ball out of defence. But there was nothing there.
Yeah, completely agree. As I say that, I don't really want to look at this result with negativity, but there are obviously still some negatives. But I think I really hope now that we can kick on, because we do have some winnable games coming up. Like we should win at the weekend. We've got a few others on the horizon that I think we can pick points up. So and proving that they can do it against Bolton should instill confidence in some of those players. So I mean, hopefully we see it. I think it's Port Vale next up for Reading. The games just continue to fly around. Port Vale at the weekend away. Decent little away trip, cheap tickets for Reading fans. I think we've got quite a good crew going up there. I obviously haven't got a ticket, as you can tell by my tone. But Reading got a really good record against Port Vale, although not too much of that is recent. But I think we've won both of our last two. Beat them 1-0 earlier in the season. So hopefully we can go and get 3 points there. I guess this is our last chance to get your score prediction.
I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I think, it sounds like the players are pretty frustrated and disappointed in the fixture, in the result from last night. So I feel like they'd want to bounce back. Also, that a win against Port Vale, if we want to get playoffs, there's no excuses. It has to be a win. I'm almost looking past this match, which, no disrespect to Port Vale, but like if we want to be having those conversations, then it's a win at the very least. I've got a quick question for you though. So we've got Port Vale, Bradford, Luton, Mansfield, and then Argyle over the next 5 games. Obviously, 15 points up for grabs. 2 of those games are at home, arguably the 2 hardest ones against. Well, actually, no, we've got Luton there as well. Anyway, Bradford and Plymouth are at the SEL. How many points do you see us picking up?
Well, we'll beat Port Vale. That's 3. I think probably beat Bradford. That's 6. Lose to Luton, 6. Draw at Mansfield, 7. Beat Plymouth, 10. 10 out of 15. It's quite high. It's getting to the point where we need to be picking those points up, as you say, if we're going to be talking about Reading being playoff contenders. But yeah, I know like Plymouth, fine, like all over the shop. But Reading's home form is really good. I think let me quickly grab it before I say something stupid. But I think we've only lost once this season at home. Yeah, no, that is complete bollocks. But we've only lost once in a long time. We lost the first 2, didn't we? Which I've clearly erased from my memory. But yeah, not lost since the 16th, or sorry, lost 1 since the 16th of August, which just goes to show how good we are. Yeah, not lost in 2026 at home, including coming up against some good teams. Beat Wickham, playoff contenders. Beat Stockport, playoff contenders. Draw to Barnsley, they're pretty good going forward. So yeah, I think we can look at all home games going forward. We got Bradford, Plymouth, Wigan, Lincoln, Cardiff, Blackpool. So yeah, Jesus Christ, they're quite tough.
Quite tough. I think it's definitely a case of winning our home games and then just grinding out as many of the other games as we possibly can. Really, yeah, a win against Port Vale would be great, obviously. But I think a win against Bradford will that'll be big. That'll definitely be big if we can pick up 3 points against Bradford.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, as we spoke about last week, if we need 20 points prior to the Bolton game, we needed 20 points there or thereabouts to finish in the playoffs, 1 closer. But yeah, we like 6 points from those 2 games would make us a huge chunk closer. So really need to start getting those points and chipping away at it. But yeah, I don't think we should turn our nose up too much at the bottom result. All right, anything more from you before we wrap up?
No, I think that's everything. Yeah, nice to just have a few days until the chaos all starts again.
Yeah, absolutely. Two games or 2 podcasts in 2 days where it's been pretty chaotic. It's been something. But well, thanks for joining me anyway, mate. Enjoy your couple days. Thanks to anyone that's listened. Thanks to all the Bolton fans that have been in the notifications with their comments on and takes on the red card, the result, all that kind of stuff. We love to hear from anyone and everyone. And yeah, we'll argue with you for as long as it takes. So keep them coming. But yeah, we'll be back after the Port Vale game. Enjoy the trip up there for everyone that's going. Hopefully, it's 3 points for the Royals, and we'll have a positive record for you next Monday. But until then, enjoy the football and stay safe.